Firefly Lane has been a great show for Netflix, and fans are super excited for Season 2 to happen. At the same time, they're already starting to worry about what will happen beyond that. So, will Firefly Lane Season 3 ever happen? Here is what you need to know. Warning, spoilers ahead. Season 2, Firefly Lane has only had one season on Netflix so far, but fans have loved it. It came out in February 2021, and fans quickly wanted to know if we would get more. Season 1 left us with a lot of questions, so naturally fans wanted to make sure that we would have the opportunity of getting some of the answers. And luckily for us, Netflix didn't make us wait super long to find out. In a video that was posted in March, Katherine Heigl and Sarah Chalke answered fans' burning questions, and one of the questions was if Season 2 was going to happen. Apparently, it was a question that everyone attached to Firefly Lane kept getting asked, so they gave the answer. We were definitely getting a new season. But the thing is, we aren't sure exactly when this new season will happen. A lot of things depend on the actor's schedule and when they are available to film, and of course, at the moment, also on what COVID protocols are for the moment. And it also depends on just how fast the new season's scripts can be completed and how quickly they can start filming. But Netflix does like to release a new season of a show around the same time as the previous season was released. That means that Season 2 could be out around February 2022, hopefully, if nothing slows down the production schedule, that is. But how will Season 2 affect the chances of getting a third season? Let's find out. The books. Firefly Lane is based on the novel of the same name by Kristin Hannah that was published a few years ago. This book also had a sequel called Fly Away that continues the story of the two friends, Tully and Kate. Did the first season use the entire first book? No, they didn't. They didn't entirely follow the book to the letter either. Some parts they used, some parts they didn't. But they also didn't use all of the book's stories. There is still a big part of the book left that they will need to resolve in Season 2, and an important character dies in the books that isn't in Season 1. If they're going to continue using the books, and the second book in particular, they will need to make that happen. A big part of the sequel, Fly Away, is influenced by this death, and I can't really see just how they can use any of the second book's stories if they don't let that play out first. But the biggest takeaway from this is that there is still a lot of story that they can use for more seasons. Will they stick to the books? There have been a lot of twists and turns in the show already, and not all of them have been precisely based on the story that books told. They aren't keeping to the books exactly, but they've kept on telling a loosely based story that kind of follows the book's version. And if they keep doing this, there is more than enough source material to have more than one season. They ended with a lot of the first book still left to be told. So if they complete the first book in Season 2, they can start the second book and complete it in the third season. There might even be enough to do the entire Season 2 still in the first book, and that way they could make 2 more seasons on the sequel to the book. That way they could really give each part of the story the attention that it deserves. Could they go beyond the book's stories? This is very possible too. The series have already veered off of the books a little, and it is very possible that the writers of the series could continue to do so. They could completely decide to move on from the books to make the story continue on for longer. Going beyond the books would give them the opportunity of lengthening the series, but also the opportunity of telling fresh stories of these characters. Fans are for sure not ready to let the series go yet, and that will very likely not change after Season 2. So if they do use most of the book's material in the next season, then they might be forced to continue it on with their own material. But they will need to be cautious with this. Some shows that have gone beyond the published books have come out with a lot of criticism over the seasons that did go off book. The best way to avoid this might just be to include the author of the books, Kristin Hannah, when brainstorming new ideas. She knows her characters and might just be the best judge of things that they would do and what would be out of character. We have seen shows that go in their own direction after being based on books that are doing incredibly well, and others completely bombing. But I must say, so far the show has done really well when including parts that didn't happen in the original material, so they might just be really great at it. So it is very possible to continue to Season 3 and maybe even beyond. The ratings. Another big factor to getting a show renewed is the ratings of the last season. no network is going to keep on making a show that isn't doing well for them and isn't a moneymaker. This might be another thing that Firefly Lane has got going for them. They did really well in the first season. Netflix does not release their precise numbers of ratings and viewership totals, but they did say that in the first 28 days, Firefly Lane pulled in 49 million viewers worldwide. That is really great numbers, and according to reviews and comments on social media, most people had really positive feelings towards the show, and they can't wait for season 2 to drop. Then there's still everyone that has watched the show in the months since then, and will still watch it before season 2 gets released. If those people get hooked on the show too, then they will also want to watch it as soon as the next season comes out. So likely season 2 will do even better when it is released than the show's debut did. And great ratings normally mean that a network wants to renew it for another season. Normally. But this is Netflix that we're talking about, and they don't always do things that are normal for other networks. Netflix has been known to save shows from other networks when there are enough fans petitioning for the shows to get saved. But they're also known to cancel some of their viewers' favorite shows without much explanation. A few of their original series have been canceled after a few or even one seasons, even if it looked like the show is doing pretty well or that it had a pretty solid following, and they never give a reason why. So fans are always nervous when it comes time to renew or cancel a show. We can't say for sure what the criteria are for letting a show live on, not on Netflix, and that obviously makes fans nervous. We know we are getting a season 2 of Firefly Lane, but until we get a solid confirmation of season 3 renewal, we can't be sure that we will get one. The cast and crew have expressed their hope, but there is still hope because we aren't the only ones that really want the show to continue. Generally, a show gets canceled for a number of different reasons. One, when the ratings are low and the network just doesn't see the point in making a show that no one is watching anyway. Two, when the show has run its course and there really isn't anywhere to go with it anymore, and the network decides to call it a day. Or the writers and producers decide the story is done, but they don't want to drag it out until it's no good anyway, and they end it while it's still great. And three, when a vital member of the cast decides that they think it is time for the show to wrap up and they decide to step back. Now, not counting on the Netflix factor, we've shown that these criteria have been met. The ratings of the show are great, and there is still a lot more story to tell. And it seems like the cast and crew of the show definitely think that it has the potential to keep going, at least until season 3. Katherine Heigl, who, as we know, stars in the show and also is an executive producer, has said that she is really hoping that the show can go until at least season 3. She said that she's keeping her fingers, toes, and everything else crossed that the show will get at least 3 seasons. And series creator and executive producer Maggie Friedman has made it clear that she's on board for it too. She said that she would love to keep telling these stories, and since all of these actors are so great, she would obviously love to keep on seeing them together on screen. And fans couldn't agree more. So do we think season 3 will happen? In short, we are hopeful, but we can't promise anything. The show has a lot going for it, and that is why chances are really good that Firefly Lane might continue on, but a lot will depend on the second season of the show. Will fans enjoy it as much as they did season 1? Will the ratings stay really high? And how far will they go with the story? If they do end up telling all of it, then there might not really be much of a point of going on to another season. In the end, we'll have to wait and see what season 2 brings. If we don't get confirmation of a new season, it might just be safest to see the final episode of season 2 as the series finale. Thanks for watching.